Hello guys, Anthony here, and this is a director slash writer slash actor slash whatever you want to call it commentary. Almost 2 years later since the filming of this, I figured I'd come back and revisit it and do a little commentary wherever this may end up, probably YouTube. You want to get some insight on some of the stuff that happened, then I guess sit down and relax and listen. Um, so anyway, No More Run Hell has a pretty strange story to it. Pretty much, we started writing this script. I started writing it in 2012, and pretty much with that being said, it was kind of like when we started to write it the first time, we just weren't ready. We tried to film it that summer, and I still have footage from that time that I refused to release because it's so bad. Maybe one day I'll show it, but anyway, yeah, we just weren't ready the previous summer. So flash forward to right now, what you're seeing, 2013, a year later of preparation, we had to put it on the back burner, and that really bummed me out because I was so ready to film it. The script kind of came from like a really crappy time, and um, you know, just kind of all that nonsense where I kind of just had a bunch of emotion kind of poured into the script and I couldn't film it. So finally, this is June 2013. One of my favorite summers ever, and one of my favorite times ever filming a film. Um, there's still very little that I would go back and change about this, little things here and there, but looking back, everything is still the same as I would want it to. So here we have our first zombie interaction, encounter, whatever you want to call it. Cool little behind the back shot there. Um, this is Anastasia, who also plays Nicole. Um, and yeah, this was kind of like we wanted somebody else to play the zombie, but we just didn't have that many people on this first day of shooting, and it was about to rain. So we were like, all right, let's do this. Um, Note the color correction here. A lot of this did not look like the way it did. Color correction is very important when putting together scenes like this and getting the overall tone. Um, well, she did a good job at playing a little zombie kick to the shin there, and fuck you too. So like the character is me. Um, that's why I had to play him because it just felt right. Nobody else could play the role. This is real rain, obviously. Um, it started pouring shortly after we did that scene. So I was just like, "Yo, Kyle, stand behind the screen door and just film this, film this." So he zoomed in on me, just kind of sitting in the rain, and it was a really effective shot. It originally wasn't supposed to be like this at all, but we were just like, "All right, we'll roll with it," and it looked awesome. The camera picked it up fairly well, and that thunder sound I added in post production. Um, a lot of the narration, as you have heard if you watched the film, is kind of like a. I think it's very important because it's kind of going through what the character's thinking specifically and kind of throwing you in to the dark thoughts that the character's thinking and kind of all the doubt and all the guilt and all the mixed emotions and emotional wreck because that's how I was when I wrote the script. So it kind of reflects that specifically and directly. Um, this is Ed playing the pedestrian, who we don't show his face because it's Ed, and he plays somebody else as well. We did a good job at not repeating characters playing roles because we try to bring the make this kind of a more broader film as far as actors. So there's a little quick cut right there. That scene was very hard to edit too. We had to cut in I had to cut in a lot of I had to cut down a lot. If you look back at the raw footage, it was not that fast, but I eventually ended up editing it fairly well. Um, but yeah, so we did a good job at like making sure we didn't really repeat too many actors, and we didn't. So we did a really good job at trying to prepare everything. As I state a bunch of times, because this was probably the biggest thing I've worked on to date. Um, I'm currently working on my next feature film, in the middle of writing that, and this March 8th right now as I'm recording this commentary of 2015. But back then, this was all we had. We really did a good job with what we had, and I'll point out some cool little fun facts that happened. This was still the first day. We filmed a lot of things out of order as expected because sometimes time restraints and whatnot and people's schedules got in the way, as always, because people gotta do stuff. Um, but so this is still the first day. Um, in fact, I think this might have been the second day. Yeah, this is the second day, I think, when we filmed. Um, and this is my friend Dave playing Isaac, and the main character's name is David as well, but no confusion there. Um, David did a really cool job at bringing kind of like a natural approach to everything. I thought he really played it off kind of like a really it didn't feel forced with him, and I like that because I never really saw him act before, and it was really cool seeing his abilities here in all these scenes. We already had good chemistry because we were such good friends, and in this scene in particular, we made it work, and he really made it seem natural. I think he did a really good job, and I don't know if he even notices how good of a job he actually did half the time. He doesn't give himself enough credit. This is Ed playing James, Brandon's playing Marcus, and Anastasia is Nicole, who just played the zombie in the previous scene. So we kind of wanted to like note the pictures of Brandon in the background because it is Brandon's house. A lot of people point that out, and I'm just like, well, no, we aren't going to take them all down. We didn't want to piss off his mom, but the main thing about this film is we wanted to kind of give it a natural approach to as how can these survivors react to the situation when everything kind of goes to shit so fast. So we wanted to kind of seclude them in this house. That was very important, so kind of not giving them anywhere to go. And so this is when he finds out that his ex-girlfriend is dating this guy. So this always causes a conflict. These scenes were very fun to shoot, but very hard because we couldn't fuck up. Because a lot of people were relying on their lines to come into play. So if one person messed up, it would be the other person's fault. Projected in the bloopers. So it was kind of one of those things where I kind of wanted to throw my character in the shit real quick. Because not only did he just wake up randomly, and we'll find out later why, I kind of wanted to like make him just the center of like a target. Like he was just already getting beat down in this situation. So that's why we kind of made it so quickly where he just flipped out. It's like, really? Like what else could happen? Like what else is going to go wrong? Like this is going on, and I just see my ex who is dating this guy out of nowhere, who I don't even know. This was not in the script, but this was something that I typed up a little outline, and when a lot of people saw the film for the first time, they're like, wait, what, you filmed this? This is kind of like a dream sequence. I wanted to kind of make it like dreadful, kind of like where his mindset was. I felt like it would make more sense if I kind of showed how I wanted to like really get across how like fucked up his mind was, which was me. So it kind of makes sense. So here we go. I filmed this in August, about 2 months after we finished filming the film. So I went back and did this in post production, which is pretty. I just did it by myself and no one else. It's a fun little fact there, but it made sense because, like I said, I wanted to kind of capture kind of like how his dreams are telling him like he wants to die and he doesn't want to die, and it's kind of a crazy little thing, but you know, I think I added it in for a good reason, and it worked out. I think it flows well with the dread that's going on. So I put it right between when he fell asleep and then he wakes up, so it kind of flows like that. So this is him trying to make sense of it all with Kate, and justifiably so because he is in a loss right now. I feel like things kind of the state of things when you're dealing with something outside of kind of like the personal drama and the personal drama, something like any horror movie that tells characters well, or like The Walking Dead does a good job at kind of showing the character drama within the actual state at hand, which is the zombies. And that's what I try to do in this particular film, was kind of just like make it so like it's just one thing after another and nobody can calm down, nobody's used to the situation, so nobody's going to act normal. It's really hard to act normal because even in real life, if you think you're prepared for something like this kind of, I guess, like, I don't know, something that this dramatic or something this like, something you can't overcome easily, like something like a fucking zombie apocalypse, it's kind of something where I wanted to really make it realistic, and whether or not people actually got that from this film, I certainly hope so. Yeah, so here we go. His gun's missing, and Marcus took it, as we find out when he comes downstairs. This might have been a different day, no, but when you see us go outside, the inside shots were, I think, the second day. This was the first day, so we're already going way out of order, which is fine because, like I said, it gets the job done. It's always expected. I did it with I did it with Max Payne, and I did it with this, so 2 feature films. So there was Billy, that's Brandon's brother, playing a silent zombie, and now. You motherfucker! Now you're gonna attract more of those things to this house. I was going to the shed to get supplies. First argument. So this is the first day, and it'll cut into the second day. But, Brennan did a really good job at playing Marcus in this angry way. And here we go. It's a different day. So, the sun kind of went away. But we took a picture of Brandon's like marks, so we kind of made it exactly how they were. So the conflict between him, Marcus, and Kate were very important to kind of express in this scene in particular. So, I think it was, we filmed this a different day than we actually filmed the fight scene in the front yard, because the court's coming, so they gotta hurry up and try to take them out before they figure out where they are. So, the makeup took a long time. So I think the whole there's 4 days of shooting. The whole third day, I think, was like 90% of it we shot was just that fight scene in general, because it was such a lot, and it like was raining on and off, and it was kind of miserable, but we really got it. It was like humid and hot, but we got it down. But a lot of this was filmed completely out of order. You wouldn't even notice, which is kind of the cool thing, because you wouldn't notice it in something like this. But us prepping and stuff, this is just a completely different day than when it cuts to us in the front yard. So we wanted to make it realistic, where we wouldn't have all these guns blazing and shooting, and only shoot if we have to type thing, and so we kind of made it important to make it realistic. And I remember sitting back in 2012, a whole year before, sitting in my basement with Kyle, who is the assistant director, and this is the camera operator most of the time in this film. I remember sitting down with him and just being like, what can we like give these people that just like that they can use as weapons that doesn't look too silly? And it was bats, just tin bats, something that you could have around your house, you know. This is Joey and Zach as the first set of zombies, and this is, you're gonna see Tori, uh, Gabby, and Brandon's little sister Amber wanted to play zombies, so it kind of worked out. Little kid zombie, fun little cameo that she made. But yeah, so here are the bats, and it just kind of made it realistic because it wasn't so silly looking. I felt like it still kind of made sense, and you know, makes sense. This is Isaac looking out for his friends, and soon to find out, one of them isn't really a friend at all. This is just showing how stronger they're getting. It doesn't take one hit to do anything. Really cool headshot there. I'm really proud of that shot. That took a million takes, as you could tell in the bloopers, to throw the blood on him, and then the CG in there. So, Tori playing a really cool zombie there, right in the head. And I wanted to kind of add that twist in there where it's like they are getting stronger. And that was a really cool shot we did. Dirt got in the camera and stuff like that. We got it out, but we put it on the ground and Ed just kind of smacked. And it looked awesome. And poor Isaac's getting bit. Because Marcus let him die because he's a dickhead. And what we did was, if you see right there in Dave's hands, or Isaac's I should say, we put blood on his like wound right before we took that little shot. So like, as we were lifting him up, we saw the blood through his fingers. I'm really proud of that shot, how good we actually nailed it. It was really cool. And the bite just looked really cool. We took a lot of time to get the makeup down, and everybody helped with the makeup, and it was, I think it was Maggie and Erica and probably Anastasia too. They all worked on the makeup as well. They kind of just had fun with it, and so this was kind of one of those things where we wanted to kind of make everything happen so fast. And the main part was kind of showcasing how bad these people can actually be. The whole kind of, I mean, some people could say that it could be far-fetched that Marcus is involved in this more than you think. What are the chances, and what are the, oh, he's involved with the government and going in as I mean, but I think that just kind of adds to it as far as like, kind of like making it like he's just part of the dirty work. I mean, I didn't want it to come off as far-fetched. I didn't try to play it off as goofy or anything like that. It kind of makes sense of why Marcus is doing what he's doing. So it kind of, I think it made sense. I mean, after the fact, I mean, I think the whole thing of a zombie apocalypse, you can kind of go a little bit wild as far as like character scenarios and who's involved in what. But I've always felt like it was really cool to kind of have that like classic, like, oh, somebody in the group is in on it. I think that's kind of cool because to me, that's just what I always grew up around in games and movies and stuff like that. So it kind of made sense to do that. So, we don't know what happens when you're bit. So we're unaware. But we really wanted to kind of show the dread on these characters now. And now Kate feels guilty about Marcus, and that is going to pretty much, be kind of important of like, where is Marcus and why is he, doing all these things, or where did he go off to? And now the main character is pretty much at rock bottom at this point. Not only did he lose her, but like he just said, he's losing his best friend, doesn't know what's going to happen. So a lot of stabs that this character is taking. So, um, again, I think it plays very important in the whole kind of like using real life experiences and putting them into the script the way they're supposed to be, um, and stuff like that. And it's very important that people, always express that through writing and whatnot. Because it definitely helped me a whole bunch, especially when I made this film. It was very cathartic, I guess is the word, of very therapeutic to kind of get all these emotions out, and writing it down was step one. Step two was just acting it out and feeling everything out, and then finishing it was an accomplishment. So kind of like every step we took was something new. For all of us, because we haven't done anything of this magnitude. Neither have I, and it came from my head onto paper, and now we're all kind of in this world. And it was such a fun experience. I mean, it's like you couldn't really have asked for like a better group of people to work with during the film. So hopefully we can recreate that in future projects and whatnot. Um, Even though a lot of people that are involved in this film are no longer around, but it is what it is. So this is the big scene where he's turned, and this took a lot of planning out. And me, Dave, and Kyle all sat down and talked about how we're gonna do this and pull this off. And really cool shot right there. You can see the wetness on his wound. I always thought that's really cool, like the sweat, the blood pouring out of the back of his head. And his scream was very real and very just like nobody. Pretty much everybody there on that day was in the kitchen, and I was like, all right, guys, I'm going to scream. And I don't think they were ready for how loud I was actually going to scream and how, like, long it was going to be. So as soon as Kyle stopped the camera right here, I looked up, and everybody was just like, oh, my God. And then they just started clapping. It was a humbling experience. But very cool. Very cool. So there was this like little lump of dirt, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool for Isaac's grave. Just cover him some dirt. Makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, very dark material, and a lot of stuff, like I said, I wouldn't change. I would not go back and change a damn thing, because we did a really good job with going in with kind of like pretty much expecting the worst, and we already experienced the worst, summer of 2012 when we tried to do it the first time. So we're extra prepared this time around. So not much has changed when we filmed it. Everything kind of went the way I thought it would went, or thought it would go. Thought it would go. So this is when he finds out that Isaac's dad actually hid the gun from him. He thought he sold it, but he hid it. It was just hidden in the shed. And here's some more zombies. Your dad never sold the gun, buddy. I'm just trying to keep it away from you. So, shit hits the fan pretty quick. You gotta get some sleep, you depressed fuck. I always like that line. You gotta get some sleep, you depressed fuck. And that was Nicole playing a zombie. It's funny how we have all these character names that are the actors' names in the film. It's kind of funny.
I found Isaac's dad M16. It's fully loaded. With the good news, I think it's burst fire. I still have this.
So this was kind of like a scene where we wanted to kind of have like this whole overwhelming feel to it, to where they're strong and they're not dying, and yeah, we kind of wanted to make it that that feeling.
Sorry, David. There's no way you're gonna get out without some bait.
James, don't you dare do this to me.
Nicole, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. I love you. Get out now. Come on, we need to go now. David, wait. Take this. There's ammo in the house. There's more coming. I got one ball. Get out now.
So there's him. Ed added that in there. Get off me, you sons of bitches, and that was kind of a really cool touch. But yeah, so he's sacrificing himself, and we're going. And this was the last day of shooting. So that was the last day of shooting right there where we left the house, and this is the same day we went to my house. So this is my house, right down the street from my house. So this is Nicole going crazy. I don't know if, you know, if like, you know, people would notice that, you know, we're kind of like in a different neighborhood-ish kind of thing, but it's really hard to tell. So I kind of made it so it was kind of in the same area. This is kind of her going crazy and killing herself.
Nicole, don't. No.
And she kills herself. Maybe if there's one thing I'd like to do different in that scene was probably to get different angles of her blowing her brains out so I can kind of splice it together and make it more dramatic. I probably would have done that. So she could just shoot herself more and more and more and more and more so we get different takes and put it together. But, whatever. There's always next time if there's a nice suicide in my thing and her body's gone. This is me noticing that the zombie body is gone, as it is later, in the day. Or a couple days later, but... the filming the last day was very interesting because we were really excited to just get it done, and you can kind of tell everybody was kind of spent but still having a good time with it. And you know, we did end up getting it done, obviously, but it was kind of a very humbling experience because, you know, we all made it to this point. Sometimes I feel like I'm speaking too much for everybody else, but at the same time I feel like, you know, everybody kind of felt the same way, that we really did kind of pull a clutch move and got a lot done. We did a lot of good things, made a lot of good memories in these just 4 days, and even the whole summer, like as a whole, was very just memorable, and you know, shortly after this day, I shortly found out that my grandpa was in the hospital, and he ended up passing away later that month because he fell. And I found out literally as we were filming these scenes that that was the situation. And it was, you know, it was very unfortunate, but at the same time, I had the film going on, and I had all these good friends surrounding me, and, you know, still to this day, they probably don't know how much that actually means to have, you know, good friends with you when time goes to shit, you know, and sometimes like bad stuff happens, you know, and so it was kind of like a, you know, a little speed bump in the whole process. I mean, it didn't stop anything from getting done because, you know, at that point we didn't know his condition and whatnot, but I'm very thankful that as we were getting things done, you know, we were able to I had good friends around me, because even after we were filming, then the following weeks, those were tough weeks, because that's when he was in the hospital, and we had to decide what we wanted to do, and in that time period, we just I was surrounded by good people, and that made these memories possible, this film possible. You can see the script on the floor right there, but but no, just utterly grateful for everything, because it's there's really not a day where I don't think about this time period. I mean, it's crazy, because this whole film kind of in general was like kind of like a really huge part in my hopefully a career that involves film. It's a stepping stone, if you will, of achievement. And the response was well received as well. So it was very important to get everything kind of going here. So this was kind of like the latter half of the film now, because what I tried to do was kind of make it so like the characters can rest and make it kind of realistic, so it's like some time has gone by and then we could see what happens with Marcus. So that's what we're about to find out. And here we go.
What do we have here?
I forget whose idea it was to put the marks on him and stuff like that, but I don't remember who suggested that, but I think it made his character look even more like badass and cool.
How do you know where I live? What the hell?
This is kind of flashing back to how he woke up where he was. The government's trying to.
You have to make this harder on yourself, don't you? What are you talking about? We're government agents trying to secure the infection. What infection? This is all I can say. Now please, come on, make this easy for us.
Get this prick.
We did the test on non-infected, and considering most houses are empty, this one wasn't. Government agents, you guys aren't even in uniform. See, we go in as normal civilians. Makes it easier to get around. We need someone who is not infected.
Stop asking questions.
Little fucking prick.
Now, when he threw me here, I really hit my knee really hard. That was a real reaction to me going, oh, because, like, it just slammed on the concrete. And that, I could still feel that. It hurt so much. And that's how I woke up.
You're the one who did this to me. You're with the government. They're killing everyone. I bet you left Isaac's house to go with the crew, didn't you? David, you're smarter than I thought. I would just kill you two lovebirds right now. I don't let you suffer. I won't let that happen. It's too late. They followed me here.
So he lures the infected in,
I injected myself. But the virus is over.
and he injects himself, as orders.
Kate, move. Move!
He's down for now, but we have to move quick.
How did he inject himself?
No time. He's crazy. Let's go.
This is a cool shot of them coming out of the woods, which I thought was really cool. Which is right in my backyard.
Fuck, they're coming from back here. They follow me.
I wish we had more zombie extras to show more, but I just kind of made her say, yeah, they're coming from the front, because during this day we just couldn't get a bunch of people that we wanted to, so
Kate, we need to go to the garage now. We don't have enough ammo to fight them off.
so what better way? It's just to corner yourself and hope for the best. And that's what they have to do. And you even see the sweat on our like faces. It was hot.
Can't you stop having a hang up?
It's the end, isn't it?
I love you, kid.
Love you too. Love you always.
Life is never happy. We only think it is. All good things always come to an end, and we both knew that. Our lives meant nothing to us anymore, and all the pain and suffering that I had going through still hurts, and we were going to die. There's nothing we could do to prevent this. Happiness leaves you faster than the speed of light, and us as people seem to be too blind to notice. Life is a fucking mess. I've given up. We both did. It's over. So they corner themselves, and their fate is pretty much decided. But in my head, they died. So, no happy ending. So, with that being said, that is No More Room in Hell. And, I guess the most I can say about this film was it was just a snapshot of that time. And you know, I'm really happy that we did everything that we did in the way that we did. Like I said, there's very little that I would change about this film. And you know, I want to say, you know, thank you to anybody who's listening to this who was involved. You know who you are. Obviously, there's a lot of people that aren't around anymore that were involved in the process, but it is what it is. You know, the main thing is that we got things done, and we had a good time, and we made some good memories. It's very unfortunate that you lose people along the way, but that is life. So you know, we just go and head first into the next feature film, which I'm currently in the middle of writing, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up. So yeah, we had a good team. So you know, everybody on this list, we all did a good job doing everything. And you know, there's always going to be, you know, room for, you know, more people to come in and help out. But yeah, it was a very strange time, but a very humbling experience, filming and planning, and all the hard work paid off. You don't really know when you kind of go through that, like doing all that. Like it's gonna be good memories, but it was just something about this time period. It was just very, I don't know, it was special. And I use that as kind of motivation to make more films, to know that I can do that again. John and Heather, which is Brandon's parents, for using the house, their house. Perry for helping me build the computer, and family and friends. And yeah, it was yeah, like I said, it just, that's why I always kind of talk about this film or this time, because it was such an important, and promotion after this went well. I built a computer after I worked in a shitty job for 3 weeks just to build up change. It was in August, so it was after we filmed all this, and I built up money and built a computer thanks to Perry for editing, and I'm still on it to this day, and still editing on it to this day, and we'll continue to use it, just so I can get this film done and future films. It was a crazy summer, but very good memories. So there it is, Gun Wars production, and you know, thank you. Thank you all for the support. The response for this film has always been extremely well, and it still to this day is the best response I've ever gotten on anything that I've done. So thank you guys, and thanks for all the good memories, and, you know, I'll never forget this, ever. So thank you, and let the good times roll.